Okay, well, I might just restart right now because the audio I fear might have just been entirely blown out because I was ranting. So and I didn't realize like when I'm doing the audio test, I'm like talking like a mouse into the microphone, but like when I'm actually speaking, I'm just like not even at that level. I'm just like yelling. Okay, so um I needed a little smoke break. It is also the phlegm. And so that's just in case I restart, but if I don't restart, okay. So the I have been when I was a kid, I always wanted imaginary friends. And I didn't have any, and I remember trying to like conceptualize a friend that would then, come into existence. So I didn't get that, and I was like, God, I just want a superpower then. Like if I could just have one. So didn't get one. or or did I? I feel like we all do have that. So anyway, when we Jesus Christ, the Holy Trinity. Hold on, brain fart. So at the age of 12, sorry, I'm just picking up where I left off on the previous. If I'm restarting this recording, then it's the previous. Uh, I'm picking up on the previous one, story recording. So the thing was that okay, yeah. So at the age of 12, I this, by the way, is in aims to try to calm myself and just like not be so angry. Um, so at the age of 12, I asked for therapy because my mental was not, it was inadequate, in my opinion, at best. So I have been getting help for my mental health since that age. And it has progressed to the point where like I dealt with panic attacks. I used to call them anxiety attacks, but really they were panic attacks for my whole life basically. Um, and then last year I did LSD, and I was so disappointed that I didn't like hallucinate or anything. Like I didn't. Well, no, okay, I did hallucinate. I had one hallucination. I was like I was trying to assemble this desk over here. It's the one where the piano is. Um, I was trying to assemble it without instructions on LSD as just like let me try this drug and do this project to entertain my mind. So at some point, I thought I cut myself with one of the pieces for the keyboard thing, and like the piece that slides out because I was messing with it and I was like, man, this is so sturdy. It's like it's a sword, like just messing with it. And then I thought I cut myself and I couldn't establish if I cut myself. And I was just like tripping out. I was like like I see blood, but then I don't see blood, and then I'm like putting it on my clothes, and then I'm just like, but my clothes is dirty. Why don't I have clean clothes on right now? I ended up just showering and going to sleep and slept it off because I was like, this is not my thing. Um but I did try it again multiple times to the same no hallucinations basically, like that was just a one time thing. And the other experience was just like thinking about superpowers and like how they could be real, like kind of sad because I felt like I thought I was gonna see like like a freaking bunny, and then I'm gonna go chase it and it's gonna be an adventure like it was shrooms actually, not LSD. It's the same psychoactive component, I think. Not really. It's not. But they're similar. Anyway, I have not done LSD. That was a misspeak. That was a categorization on my part, but the drug is the hallucinating one, and my point is that after that, after having done that, then I just didn't do it again. Um, but then after that, the panic started just to feel more like paranoia, like just like I'm panicking, but I don't know why I'm panicking. So it's just like, oh, something's wrong. Like, so it's back to anxiety, but it's just like a different form of anxiety where I feel like people are speaking to me when they're not speaking to me, or like they're just like, I don't know, like weird hive mind feeling. And so I told my therapist this, and naturally she's like, "Yeah, it is kind of a hive mind, like how we communicate." And I'm just like, Yeah, I guess," but it's like it's eschewing the paranoia feeling, but still confirming that like there's something there, right? And so it progressed into basically when I would have my full panic attacks, and they would last for days. I would just be panic, 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 panic for multiple days. Um, I would start disassociating, and I'm just like, I don't want to kill myself, but that's the feeling that I'm having, and it's so overwhelming. and and my environment is so unable to help me that my mind now is creating phantasms of things in order to cope with the fact that there's something that I'm missing. And like I told my psychologist this, and she's like, "Yeah, it happens." I'm like, "Why is everyone just eschewing this?" Right? So I go to this at this point I had already stopped taking a lot of all the medication. A lot of it was mostly for mood disorders, and that pretty much just mood disorders and ADHD. Um, and so but then so these phantasms, it starts to turn into like actual songs, like I thought I think I'm hearing a song, but like I go out towards where I thought I heard it and it's gone. And it's just like, eh, like it's just a minor disturbance, right? But then it turned into like seeing my dog, and then my dog disappears, or like I went to go pet them and they're just gone, like, or this fly pestering me. Like belief wise, I don't know, that bridged gap is not mine at all. So at least speaking from the experience side of things, the phantasms, they do appear, and it's just like, that's what I was also telling my psychiatrist, that there were maggots on the floor, and when I was a kid I used to see maggots, and then I would like turn to where they were, where I saw them, and then it would just be like a pile of dirt, and I'm just like, where did this pile of dirt come from? And so that would just happen throughout my life, and but now it's the opposite, where I'm finding maggots in random places, and I'm just like, how did a maggot end up here? And the fact that these used to be phantasms and now they're not. So it's like that weird disassociation thing that I'm aware, I understand that it's a living ecosystem. The world does react. The living things in it react to each other. So I'm aware to some degree in that respect, but I don't know. Because then, like, same thing when I'm talking to my psychologist, I'm telling her like disturbances, disturbances, and then the people upstairs start stomping for no reason. And I'm just like, did they do that on purpose? Can they hear me? Like, I genuinely do not know. I can't tell. So, um, it'll be things like that, and it's just, like I'm not choosing to believe in a world that is gonna harm me, but that is what I had felt like for a really long time, that, um, like, my safety was at risk, and that paranoia was just, like, it didn't have anywhere to go because I understand people aren't trying to hurt me. People want to help me. Like, and but that's where the problem lies, is that help is different for everybody. And maybe free will, kind of how it's accepted in today's society, is maybe not the best way to do that, because in a living thing, it takes time for even my body to synchronize within itself as events happen in its surroundings. So, how can any one part of me be designated the leading aspect of my personhood that is able and willing and responsible to make decisions, and will respond to all of that in synchronicity? Because then you have to look at the person as like a slime in time, and you can't look at one person even as an action. You would have to say that they are a collection of an action that lasts their entire life, and you can't even, like, where do you slice that? Because for me, I feel like I I'm very clear within myself what is right and what is wrong. And systemically, I think maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's what that people struggle with, and I don't, because have this like extreme empathy where, for example, yesterday I was walking outside and I was with my dogs, and butterflies like to come to me when they're gonna die. I don't know how else to explain that, but they always die around me. They come when they're frail, and that is a very common occurrence in my life that I get to see all the time. And I don't know if it's just because I surround myself by plants, by nature. I like to take myself into those places of ponderance and inquiry and just like self-reflection, where I am the environment, where I am everything that is around me. But then, I get butterflies. Putting themselves directly underneath my foot, to where I have to, like, hold myself, like, hold my weight after I had already dropped my weight, in order to not crush that butterfly. But I'm like, why were you there? Why was my foot, like, I was walking in this direction. I don't think that butterflies, like, I think they move more with the wind. So it's just like, did I draft you in on accident? Um, and so it'll be things like that, and it's like, well, I don't know. Genuinely, because, like, the insects do feel the magnetic spectrum. That's how they navigate. And if my emotions are something there, then maybe there is something there too. Which brings me to a really interesting point, that uh that Kirksgard, one of the YouTube channels that's like a science communication channel. They also do history and stuff like that. But the main thing that I got from the video they were talking about the mind is, they had this little drawing, and I thought it was the most perfect description of how human cognition should be, though isn't necessarily that all the time. But um, let me see. I took a picture of it, and they were like, life is single celled, and then it like branches off. And like what a thought would be like a, an organism. Please don't sue me or copyright me for this, please. But like that little shape right there. Um, it's like a loop. It's like an infinity loop. Um, but then it like tangles. It like has a little tangle, so it's like not symmetrical. Because when you look at the heart, it does have that shape. That's kind of like, it kind of like wraps in on itself, and there's kind of like an infinity sign in there if you look at, like, I believe in patterns of creation, and that whatever created everything would bestow patterns into the creations of itself. So that just makes logical sense to me. And The way that I look at right and wrong is like, if you're just doing that loop and because you feel that you don't do that little tangle, that you're basically only just doing this perfect loop. Like, first of all, think about it. You would have to be going through yourself even to make that shape, and then that shape would only be two-dimensional. Um, so yeah, that's it.